Hey guys, this is my review on the Ratchet & Clank film 2016. Now, I know this has been panned a lot, and it's got 21 Rotten Tomatoes, but that's all underrated. I love this movie. As far as to say that this is my favorite video game movie. Almost everything about it. I think it's a really underrated movie, and it deserves more credit. I know people are going to say it's quite mediocre, but I think it's more than that. I honestly found this really fun, and it got me to play the games later, and I still liked the movie after that. Anyways, let's get on with the review, starting with the characters. Let's start with Ratchet now. Normally, yes, he was originally selfish, which was a little important for his character development, but this is adapting the 2016 video game, so let's focus on that instead. I still like his character arc in this movie, and I like the whole Boy Scout thing. It's a little cute to me. I do like that he's a little insecure at the beginning of the film and throughout the movie until the end, to show that he's trying to live up to big expectations, but learns to accept him as himself. That's kind of fun. And I do like his moments of Clank though. Well, there was genuine passion and care for the source material. Do like that he tries to redeem Quark even after betraying him, and he tries to give him a second chance. Moving on to Clank, I always found him really cute though. I honestly like how he's the voice of reason and that he still has somewhat of a character arc. I found Quark in this movie pretty interesting though. He starts off as the hero and the commander of the Galactic Rangers, having some insecurities. Gets taken advantage of by Chairman Drake. I think that could have been better a little, but he doesn't go completely bad until a little later on. The moment where Ratchet tries to talk sense through him, that was powerful, I have to say. The Galactic Rangers were at least interesting, and they had cool uniforms, like the style of technology they had. I like Yolaris and her character and her relationship with Clank. Rosario Dawson, who also plays animated New 52 Wonder Woman. Chairman Drake, I think he could have been better, honestly. I prefer the game version. Still think that he looks great, and I do like his relationships with his other comrades. There is still some enjoyment. Victor was a great foil to Clank in a lot of ways, including narratively, because in his eyes he sees himself as a father's successor, has way more character and personality than the general in the first game. They did a good job handling fan favorite Nefarious. Granted, he didn't need to be in this movie, and they did cut out him being physically abused by Quark in their past. Kind of fun and interesting, and there were some dark moments which we'll get to in a minute. I love the 3D animation and the style of technology. I love the clever Easter eggs. This fanboy literally shares the same voice actor as Light from Death Note. It's a shame that we didn't get a proper adaptation of the original story from 2002, but at least it adapts the 2016 one, which was good, and that it's at least adapting something unlike Sonic Boom. It's so much fun with both the game and the movie story. There are things that are better in both the game and the film. And I also love the posters. Also like the video game and PS4 mindset and aesthetic. We begin with the logos, which I do love. It builds the atmosphere. I love that we get to open with Drek destroying one of the planets and quickly establish the plot. As a kid, I really thought that this was just Ratchet & Clank's version of Earth being destroyed for some reason. Or they just called it Planet Tenemil for some bizarre alien reason. The interior of both the inside and outside of the deplanetizer look really great and fun. We cut to Veldin, where we first see Ratchet's training and practicing, watches the news and learns what happened to Tenemil. That the Galactic Rangers are adding a new member to their team, and that they're going to the Kizo Plateau, which is where Veldin is. This does a good job of establishing his character and his passions about wanting to become a Galactic Ranger. And he tells himself that this is really huge. Get a new scene of Ratchet trying to demonstrate his new vehicle and his new aesthetics with the new magnetizer. Establish some of his hobbies of engineering and how careless he is at times. Ratchet's adoptive father, Glenn, later. And he is more fleshed out in the movie than he is in the game. Ends up going to the party with the Galactic Rangers. Now, I'm fine with them cutting out the training gameplay, that's fine though. Then introduced Dr. Nefarious, who is responsible for building the new robots. King strikes the factory, causing a defect to happen. It's Clank. He's uploaded with a lot of data, his eyes glow red like Clunk, but then they go back to green. I actually find that cute. The game version and the movie version are fun in their own respective ways. Good job establishing Victor as his rival, as he calls him Defect throughout the movie. Clank crashes and Ratchet tries to save him. He does successfully, but Clank needs repairing. Ratchet befriends him and fixes him up. Clank tells him about the warbots, takes advantage of the situation, and lies to Clank, saying that he's actually one of their friends. See, the Quark has his own insecurities, but that's important till later. Ratchet eventually tells Clank the truth eventually. In defense, this was done to subvert the usual "you lied to me" trope that's going to happen later on. Way it starts some sort of conflict between both Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet needs to earn Clank's trust throughout the movie later on. They end up working together and getting rid of the warbots using Ratchet's creative magnetizer. Citizens and Galactic Rangers except Quark all are happy for Ratchet. Doesn't know how to feel about this sort of thing yet. Get to see how much of a manipulator Nefarious could be. Drek and Nefarious see the cracks in Quark's facade and figure out a way on how to get him on their side. Cut out the leftover blarg, we don't really need that part. Clank ends up partnering up with Ilaris, and they actually make a good couple, honestly. The relationship was kind of fun and interesting. Ratchet gets a new cool suit, and they have a nice montage showcasing all the sort of weapons that he has in his arsenal. He uses throughout the film in clever ways. Things gradually get better when he gets the jetpack later on. I would have liked to see more of that as well. I would have liked to see the big training building skyscraper, I guess, as well. And a fun montage with music. Okay with cutting out some of the filler in between, but I would have liked to include some of it at least. Work with Clank's knowledge and try to forge a plan to stop Drek. Unscenes of the characters flying to the factory. Find out about the deplanetizer. The way Quark was manipulated into turning evil could have been better at least. Quark isn't fully a bad guy yet. His assistant Zed has a redemption arc. Importantly, Ratchet and Clank get separated. Captain Quark disarms all the defenses and weapons. Without Clank, against all odds, manages to persevere and end up on the deplanetizer. This is to show how better he's gotten since. Clank is challenged when Victor ends up on the ship, and Clank has to use his creativity, all his strength and advantages and workarounds. So when Ratchet was just about to stop Novalis from being destroyed, Chairman Drek disarms him and talks about how he had to spend 50 years underground. So when Victor was just about to catch Clank, Ilara steps up trying to save him to show how much she cares for Clank. Clank finds out Victor's weakness and shoots a cloud that pours rain on him, and Victor dies. It's also worth noticing that Clank is also waterproof, showing that he was better than him metaphorically, and this is to show how much he's grown and how much he's overcome. Ratchet later finds out that Quark is a Judas and feels very betrayed by this. Planet Novalis is destroyed right in front of him, crushing his hope. He depressingly goes back to Veldin. Grim tries his best to try and lift his spirits back up by reminding him of the good times. Reminds him his important lesson of the movie. Dear hero, you don't have to do big things. Just the right ones. Gets to Ratchet a little bit. Drek brings in new Quartoon, and despite not being perfect, he still likes it. Clank took an escape pod back to Veldin to try and reason with Ratchet. Get him back on the Galactic Rangers, since they need him now more than ever. End up incorporating Ratchet's ideas with the magnetizers. See that Quark really does have some compassion, and that he's not completely 100% on the wrong side. Surprisingly, Nefarious ends up betraying Drek and turning him into a sheep with the Sheepinator. Sends him away. Wish they could have showed his more dark side of things, like how he was going to pollute the new planet later on and do this over and over. Do you like Nefarious's quote about how people believe what they see and take shit at face value? That's exactly what Chairman Drek did when recruiting Nefarious. I'm okay with not having a short montage of the planet that happens in between. Would have been fine either way, but cleverly write it out by saying that Alaris built the hollow disguise. I like the montage of what happens, but I wish there was a little bit more of it showing what happened in the gameplay in a little longer montage. I'm gonna be real honest, I actually prefer the final boss fight of Captain Quark in the movie rather than in the game. Fight scene is really creative when using two different guns at the same time, and there's more emotional weight conveyed. Really love the little detail with the card, how it was pretty much normal at the beginning to symbolize how Ratchet idolized him, then flying to Quark, and then we see it's ripped to symbolize the trust and faith he's lost in Quark, which leads to Quark realizing the truth and end up doing the right thing at the end. A moment that I never really truly stopped to think about. Sirius shows up and their encounter is a little bit okay. I wish they mentioned the part where he was bullied by Quark in either high school or college. I just wish they took this scene a little more serious. I'm not saying I don't hate this scene. Galactic Rangers activate the magnetizers and steer the deplanetizer off course and destroys New Quartu instead, which ruins Nefarious' plan. Honestly, I like both versions of this climax between the game and the movie, but I do wish it was still in the movie at least. I do wish they included the boss fight where Ratchet goes on the tiles and then fights Nefarious in his robot suit near the core. Now, don't get me wrong, I still like the climax in the movie though with the Rhino. That was pretty cool. If only we got a mix of the two of them. And escaping the deplanetizer was kind of suspenseful and fun. I do like the ending where Quark does go to jail, try and properly rehabilitate himself, and Ratchet and Clank reconciling in the sunset while we zoom out and see sticky taped together. We get a post-credits scene that makes me wish we got a sequel. Honestly, the story was really fun. I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10. Hopefully I can make a director's cut, which includes a lot of more scenes and gameplay from the game. Overall, this movie is an 8 out of 10 for me. It's so much fun, and I love the video game aesthetic. I wish critics weren't so harsh. I wish it made the same amount as the Mario movie.
Oh shit! Oh shit! It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
That's it, guys. Feel free to subscribe, share, like, and comment.